What's up, everybody? This is Tony Gwynn Jr., and you are watching the Moneyball Channel.
My next guest is Mike Adams. Mike had a Major League Baseball career as a pitcher, predominantly a relief pitcher, for about 10 years in the league. Played with the Brewers, Padres, Rangers, Phillies, parts of other teams' farm clubs, including Buffalo for a couple of games. And he's going to join us here this evening to talk a little bit about what it's like, as he was known as a eighth inning specialist. And we'll find out a little bit more about what that means. All right. And while Mike is hopping in, I am going to real quick give a shout to Jack's Batting Gloves. This here is the Model 1. Jack's is where it's at with batting gloves. Mike is just joining us now. And how you doing, Mike?
Not too bad, man. How's it going?
That's a sweet setup in the back, man. I dig it.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, that looks real nice, man. I see Hoffman up there. Of course, you got Adams. And, yeah, that's nice looking.
Thank you.
Did you used to, back when you were playing, would you exchange it with the guys? Yeah, I think that's cool. Now everything is, especially with these young guys, they'll take off the one they're wearing and they exchange them and stuff. But nah, old school, right? You're my age, man. We're the same age.
That was kind of frowned.
I know it. Somebody was telling me, I forgot who it was, they were talking about, and it might have been a little bit older maybe, but they were talking about the hockey jerseys, and they're like, no, man, they charged us for those things. They said we couldn't exchange them or we'd have to pay for them.
The same situation.
Really?
They charged us for the same thing in baseball.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. Thanks for joining, taking some time. I did a little intro prior to, and you had a pretty extensive career, right? How, was it 10 or 12 years? What was it? Because there's some misleading info.
Yeah, so it was a little over 8 full seasons, over 10 seasons.
Okay. And then with some injuries and stuff like that. I saw you even had a stint with Buffalo Bisons for 3 games.
Yeah.
Do you remember those?
I remember being there for the whole thing.
Yeah.
But as far as the outings,
yeah, that'd be tough to remember those, man. You started the career versus the Expos, which
yes.
in itself is cool. I had Joey Hesketh on the show, a while back, and he had plays for the Expos, and we got to talking about them a little bit, and then it quickly led to like reminiscing. We just went down memory road, which I'm hoping when you do little interviews like this, that you can reflect positively back on the career and just look back at things, and hopefully memory lane and look at things in a positive light. How would you overall, I guess in that same token, when you look back at your career, is that how you look at it? I mean, positive light, obviously you're MLB pitcher, so it should be, but.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would say I had a very successful Major League career.
So I think, looking back, Padres 9-10 season, I mean, if I'm, looking back just analytics stat wise, I'm looking at those as your best couple of years, and they have you notated as basically an 8th inning specialist. Us being the same age, I remember you playing for those teams. I'm a big Braves fan. So,
okay.
There was a few times that, you handled games and took out our Braves in the 8th. I mean, I'll tell you what, man, for a couple of years there, man, you were tough to hit. What is your overall feeling on that, man?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, I had a good 5-year run where I was pretty dominant, and and then injury, and then I got traded, and then the injuries kind of started piling up a little bit. And while I was still getting the job done, being injured, it just got to the point where it just kind of took me out. It's amazing as far as the injury goes. It's instant. You're there one day, and bad injury happens, and you're gone, man. So I mean, it's like I said, I mean, I had a good run while I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I still played a pretty long career.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But I was hoping I would have had a couple more years, in there.
It's almost with baseball, especially, you can almost come in exactly the way you go out, right? There's a few different sports where that's a little more relevant. I don't feel it's as much with hockey. It's not as much with basketball, but with baseball, it's key. You can come in that way where someone else gets hurt, and all of a sudden you come in and you can make a name for yourself, but you can go out the same way, right? Because if you go out, man, and some buck comes in and starts throwing, then it's the same. It works the same way. It's like karma both ways with baseball.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and that's pretty much how a lot of guys get their chance. I mean, you're sitting in the minor leagues, you're kind of waiting. I hate to say it, but you're kind of waiting for somebody to either get hurt or
you're not the first one to say that. Trust me.
So I mean, it's very, very cutthroat job, I guess you could say. Because you always have somebody trying to take your job, and it's a job that's it's results related. So either you're getting the job done and you keep your job, or if you slip up, there's 8 to 10 guys back in the minor leagues just waiting to kind of take your spot.
100%, man. And that's, with I think a lot of times when you look at players' careers, it's really the longevity. I mean, if you look at the guys, the obviously relief pitchers in, long distance, a little different. But if you look at like the Maddocks, the Smoltz, the Glavins, right? Those guys were fortunate enough to really go unscathed. They had some minor injuries and stuff, and then a little bit later in their careers. But, you made a good point with just the injuries and how quickly you have it and then you don't, because not affecting your pitching. Like you could come back and be pitching just as strong, but by that point you're like, who? Wait, Mike, who? Who is that guy? Right? You're already out of their Rolodex, dude. You're already out of their phone, and it's like it's really crazy, man. So it's almost some of it's luck. When you have the skills like you had, some of it's just luck and just hoping you don't get hurt. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's because you a lot of it depends on your genes. I mean, you see guys that they don't work out one bit,
I know.
but they'll play 20 years. They don't get hurt. And then you have guys that work out constantly, and they're the ones that get banged up the most. So it's like like you said, it's luck.
Yeah.
Part of it is luck. It's just being able to stay healthy for so long, or not being able to survive a year or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's a very unnatural motion throwing a baseball, and when you start picking up velocities up in the upper 90s, mid 90s, I mean, it's just at some point you're going to break down. It's just a matter of when.
I think a lot of non-traditionalist or not hardcore baseball heads don't understand how much you guys really throw, right? Like I'm down at spring training every year. I've been following baseball since I've been a little kid, like, heavily. And they think, okay, 162 games. No, not 162. Every single day you're throwing a baseball, and that starts, let's go back to Little League or whenever you started playing ball. All the way up, and it's spring training, no rest for the wicked, man. You guys are always throwing, even when you go out, right? And they start counting your pitches. So they'll say, okay, he's at 37. What about the 42 he just threw in the bullpen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot
No,
of times they don't realize that.
Yeah. And then you have, what we call dry humps, where you get up and you start warming up in the bullpen, and they call back down, but never mind, we're not going to use you. So,
Is that what they're dry humps? I love it. A little blue balls there.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's like you said, you start adding up the things that you had when you were younger. You just kind of accumulate them on top of each other. Back when I was younger, I mean, I didn't. My son, I have a 15-year-old son that's grown up playing baseball so far, and the amount of games they're playing, and the amount of throws they're doing,
Yeah.
and it's nowhere near. It's nowhere near anything I did.
Right.
I was nowhere near what they were doing this age. I played 20 games a year.
Because you were normal. You were like me. You went and played like Little League baseball, right?
Yeah.
Now he's in all kinds of, travel leagues with, prospects, showcase leagues. Dude, I got a little ball player myself, and it's wild just how much they play and how involved it is. I was going to go there. You beat me to it. How many kids you have playing?
I have 2 kids, a daughter and a son. My daughter plays soccer, but my son plays baseball. Yeah.
And he's 15, you said. So is he a pitcher?
He plays outfield and he pitches. Yes.
Okay. And how is he? Do you see a little Mike Adams in him or what?
I mean, he handles his own. Handles his own. But I mean, it's that's the tough part of being the son of a pro athlete. You always get the comparison. So is he? Is he like you, like that? It's just I hate to say it, but it's unfair.
It is. No, listen, you're not wrong. It is.
Because I'm me and all the other MLB guys, we're 1% of the 1%. So, I've talked to a few of my other buddies that have sons also, and it's like, hey, do you get the comparison and stuff like that? And how do you handle it? How do you talk to your kid? And stuff like that. Just because there is a lot of expectations on them, and then unfairly, but just something you got to deal with and talk through them, and really just support them.
And let them know it's not pro baseball that they end up doing, that's okay. You know what I mean? A D1 scholarship, hey, let's focus on the education. Like you said, you made a really good point. You said the 1% of the 1%. And I know exactly what you mean by that, right? The 1% are the guys that are playing somewhere in an organization, Pioneer, AAA, single A, whatever, right? Then the 1% of the 1% are the guys on a Major League Baseball diamond, right?
Yeah.
I get that, man. And I've had, Sheffield's son on and Pedro's son on and so many guys, their kids. And I always ask them that. I say, what's it like? It'd be cool. Your son should listen to these shows. Seriously. Like, I'll send you a couple of them because they're always like, well, man, like even Toby Hall, and his son. And there's so many guys whose sons are playing. Then you guys got like, you got like Vladdy, right? Where obviously Vladdy Jr. is a freak of nature. But a lot of these guys, they have trouble living up to it, and their identity is based on it. So you are, this because you've already said it, man. But it sounds like you're an awesome dad, and the fact that you're not. If he wants to play baseball, great, right? If he doesn't, great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've always fully supported both my kids and what they do. And, my daughter plays soccer and she's a freshman in college now, but, growing up, it was always, hey, we're going to try to get a college scholarship, try to get a college scholarship. And then the senior year came and I kind of talked to her like, hey, look, I said, we got to figure out school just in case soccer doesn't work.
Yeah.
When I said that, she kind of looked at me a little funny and was like, so I can go to college without soccer? I was like, well, yeah, of course you can.
Really? But she had that mental, like, yeah.
She had the mentality that she had to live up to what I was doing or who I was and continue, play sports in college.
Yeah.
And she knew that, professional soccer probably wasn't in the view. But once I said that, she was like, well, I just want to go to college and, I really don't want to play soccer in college. And I was like, all right, fine. I mean, I was a little bit, don't get me wrong, I was a little bit hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. But bro, you probably made her day though. And like, you probably had this huge weight off her shoulders. You know what I mean?
Well, the funny thing is, so after we had that little conversation, like her next thing, like 4 or 5 games, she ended up scoring like 2 goals a game. And I'm just kind of like,
no pressure.
I was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, I went up after one of her games, like, who are you? Like, what's going? Like, where's this going? She goes, that's exactly what she said to him. I don't feel pressure. And I was like, well, I never put pressure on you, but I get it. I understood what she was saying. Throughout her whole senior year, she just played pretty much lights out.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you sure you don't want to do this?
Did she end up getting a scholarship?
No. So she had a couple like opportunities, but she never really like pushed it. She wants to go and she wants to go to dental school. It's her whole thought process was, look, I got a lot of school ahead of me. She's very career driven.
Isn't that, sorry to interrupt you, but isn't that a better feeling knowing that your daughter has a mind of her own and is that creative with what she wants to do? You know what I mean? Like, of course, we always want our kids, to be athlete, whatever it is, but the fact that completely individual, right? I don't know if there's any dental in your family or anything, but she has this thought process of her own that she wants to go and do that. Like, I don't know, man, that gives me chill. I would want, like, that's amazing that she just wants to go do that. And she,
Oh, for sure. I mean, just with her, she's a very smart young lady. And, she's always had a good head on her shoulders.
She got that from mom, by the way.
That's very true. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I mean, she's always kind of had this, like, she's very driven, education wise. And I've never once ever had to be like, hey, did you do your homework, grades everything? And she's on top of it. And there's been a couple of times when she was younger, when she come and ask for help with a couple subjects. And once she got to like 6th grade, I was like, all right, I can't do this math.
I'm the same way.
This 6th grade math, like, I need a tutor for this one.
Go ask your mom. Mom.
And mom would be like,
that's hilarious, dude.
But yeah, I mean, like, her mind, the way she thinks is like, because she came to me, I guess, in 8th grade or so. She's like, Dad, like, what careers can I have that I can have a good life and kind of, I guess, live the way we live now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, well, you can be a doctor. As soon as I said that, she's like, I don't want to do blood. Well, that kind of eliminates a lot of things there.
Yeah, right.
So you can be a lawyer, but your personality doesn't fit for a lawyer. So you can be a dentist, but you still have to do with blood and stuff. I said, but you can be an orthodontist. And orthodontist, you don't have to do with no blood, any of that. You can make a very good living.
Very, very good living.
She's like, all right. So you kind of did a little research on it. She came back like, all right, I want to be an orthodontist.
Wow.
Like, cool. And ever since then, she's been on that mindset of, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool story, man. Like kind of seeing the genesis of it, of how she thought of that. And then, like you said, driven, had her mind on something and just went with it, Did you coach them at all? Did you coach soccer or did you coach your son with baseball at all?
So I did coach soccer for a little bit. Okay. I was the best YouTube soccer coach you could ever find. So when she was young, I would help out with the soccer coaching and just kind of pulled drills off of YouTube, whatever, and then it got to the point where like, okay, I gotta get away from this. I can't do this. I'm not really, uh,
A soccer guy?
I'm not a soccer guy. I've
Right.
never
Yeah.
played soccer, so I didn't know. So like, we got to get you with real soccer coaches and, and kind of go on that way. And then we ended up finding great coaches that just kind of help her get to the next level. My son, I've coached him basically since he was in T-ball.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. So, but now the past couple of years, I've kind of taken a small step back, and now I'm just kind of helping. I'm the assistant coach. Like I'm not head coach no more. I don't want that responsibility.
Yep.
In a sense. I mean, but I still very involved. I just don't make the big decisions.
Right. No, I got you 100%. I mean, coach my kids, growing up, and my oldest is 12. And it sounds like that's kind of when you started stepping back a little bit, right? He'll be 13 go this year. And I think
probably actually exactly the time at 13,
right.
I kind of took a little step back.
And I share the same sentiment, man. I think that's kind of like the puberty stage, whatever, right? And you kind of got to back off a little for two reasons. Dad all of a sudden becomes not as cool, even though your son's got a former major league baseball player dad, right? To him, you're just dad, and then kind of like you had said, sit back, kind of let them do their thing. Now, for you, there had to be, though, this competitive edge. My son, a few years ago, we were playing, with an academy team, whatever, and they were just killing us. Like, I mean, he had a real good team, but this team we were playing, I mean, it was like they mercied us in like the third inning or something, right? And I talked to the coach afterwards, and I was just kind of chopping it up with him, and he goes, "Well, yeah," and I saw his World Series rings, and it was I can't remember his name, Liberatore, I think, from the Dodgers, a relief pitcher from the Dodgers, from probably played a little bit late, probably like mid 2000s, but it was just funny because like this guy had this army of kids that came out, and they all just had the gear, and they were just like, we knew we had no chance against these kids, man. There's some that are just wired and built different, but it's tough coaching your own kid. In my opinion, it's tough coaching your own kid because, you don't want to treat them any differently, but you obviously want them to succeed. What was your take on that? A lot of coaches listen to my show, and a lot of coaches who have kids in that age and stuff like that. What would your advice be, for coaching your own kid?
Oh, that's good. I'm a little bit tough on my own kid, not, but in the right way.
Okay.
Just because it is dad as the coach. So I don't want other players to say, "Oh, he treats his son a little bit different."
So no, you're the opposite of daddy ball, right?
I try to be.
Yeah.
I try to be. I'm sure there's some times where, yes, the daddy ball kicks in a little bit, but that's just the way it is. If I'm going to be coaching, my son's going to get opportunities.
Sure.
Just because, because it is what it is.
Right.
That being said, I'm not going to be unfair and do something that's going to affect the team in any way. At least I'm going to try not to.
Right.
But the biggest part was I always try to separate dad and coach. When we're on the field, it's coach. When we're off the field, it's always dad. I learned pretty quickly that once we get off the field, the game's over. Hey, just be dad. Let him. I'm not going to get in the car and be like, "Why didn't you catch this ball? Why did you strike out? Why didn't you hit this?" Because I was never going to get nowhere.
How hard is that though? Like I respect the heck out of that, what you just said, but that's hard to do. I mean, my son plays hockey and it's hard to do, right? You may have seen all these things go wrong or whatever. How did you control? You're a competitive dude. I've watched you pitch. Like, how did you control that and be able to separate that when you did get in the car? I mean, honestly, how did you turn it off, man?
It took a little while. It wasn't automatic. It wasn't automatic. It took me a little while to kind of figure out. You know what, man? Like, just relax. Be dad. Let him have fun. Don't put the pressure on him. Because it was tough because in my eyes, I could see what was going on. I could see how to make the changes. I could see, what needed to be done. But that was my eyes.
Right.
I had to remember he was only 9, 10 years old. He don't see the same things I see. And that was probably the biggest, the hardest thing for me to kind of figure out. But when I first started coaching, I was like, they were probably 6, 7 years old. And I'm like, why can't y'all catch the ball? Why can't y'all throw the ball? So
they're all tackling each other, trying to
get. Yeah. There's like a little set of ants. The ball goes over here. They all go to the ball.
I was the same way, and it's brutal. Like I don't know why I expected them to like go to their positions and stuff. That doesn't. Yeah.
So I had to kind of reset myself and be like, okay, look, you got to teach them from the ground, like I was expecting them to like know exactly already. Hey, this is what we got to do. Hey, this is where the ball's got to be. You know, this is where when the ball's hit, this is where we go. So I kind of had this to reteach myself baseball from square one. You know, and it took a long time. It took a little while, a couple of years, to be like, oh shoot, I got to teach them this. I got to, and it was more of as things would pop up, I was like, oh, I probably should have thought of that. You know, but it's the whole thing with dad being a dad coaching your son. You know, is just the main thing is be honest. Be honest with your son. Be honest with yourself, and most of all, be honest with the other players and the parents. You know, as long as you're doing that and you always have the right intentions for everyone, I think it all works out. And that's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
And there was a time where it almost wore on me too much. I got too invested in it, where I was going home and I was just not happy because of I felt like we weren't playing as well as we. It's almost like we were a major league team. Like we weren't playing well. I was going to lose my damn job. I was worried about it.
Right.
But I just have to remember, like, look, man, these are kids, and just try to teach them the best we can, and try to teach them to be able to handle failure. And that's probably what I teach the most is, all right, look, I don't care if we make mistakes. We're gonna lose. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna strike out. But what I want to see is, how are you gonna handle adversity?
Fantastic advice. Yeah, I respect the heck out of that. It's fantastic advice. In a few years, and I'll just kind of share this story with you. They actually there's the house ball, right? And then the travel ball. And these guys, even for the house, like they'll do drafts. And I'm like, what do you do in a draft with a bunch of house league 10-year-olds that just want to go play? And I said, I can't make the draft. Just give me all the kids that no one else wants, right? And I love the fact, that you said, teach them how to lose and failure. It's real, you can go out on a team, and I think like it just teaches any individual in any walk of life, when you go out and lose and you don't succeed at something, and you're not the guy winning every single game. I don't know, man. It builds a lot of character. You know what I'm saying? And then to see the way they treat other people after the game. Are they pointing fingers like, oh, it was little Billy over there can't field the ball, or is he like, hey, little Billy, let's work with you and try to get you fielding the balls? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's always a learning. I mean, if we lose, we try to learn something from it. If we win, we handle it. We try to handle it the right way. It's good to win, but you got to be able to handle winning correctly. We still be respectful to our teammates. It's been fun. It's been fun trying to teach these kids, and just seeing them grow and learn the game. Some of them have become pretty damn good too.
Are you down in Texas?
Yeah, we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got a lot of talent down there, man. I mean, I'm up
a lot of talent.
A lot of talent. I'm up in Buffalo where there's a lot of talent, a lot of pitchers and catchers, but not being able to play all year round is tough. There's a lot of hockey in this area. A lot of really good hockey players come out of this area, but being a ball player, I want my son to be a ball player. It's like, man, Trish, when you're ready to go move down south, man, because just the opportunities, we got these indoor facilities, but you know what it is. It's not the same. You can't go.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're enjoying it. It sounds like it's cool down there. I won't keep you all night, man. This was a lot of fun. Let's go a couple of fun questions here I just got for you, and we'll see if you're able to answer this one. What was your favorite team you played for? Are you able to answer that without causing any animosity with anybody?
No, I mean that's kind of, yes. So it kind of goes two ways. So I love San Diego. My time in San Diego. That was where I was the longest. So we had a little bit of roots in San Diego.
Okay.
But just, playing for Buddy Black, the way he kind of handled the clubhouse and the camaraderie of everything. We didn't have no big names on our team. Adrian Gonzalez was our biggest name.
Okay.
So it was just a very tight-knit group, and, love San Diego.
If I'm not mistaken, there you guys had a lot of blue collar players, right?
Yes.
Just a lot of gritty blue collar players that loved baseball. Rub your hands and face in the dirt kind of guys, right?
Oh yeah. We pitched great. We had a tough bullpen every year.
Yeah.
Had the best bullpen in baseball in 2010.
Yeah.
But then when you look at Texas, I grew up a Texas fan. We went to the World Series. We had two great teams there, so I had a lot of fun there. So it's Texas and San Diego were my favorites. Texas was my favorite because we were so damn good, and it's a great clubhouse. San Diego, I love playing there. That's where I was the longest. Thanks to Buddy Black. It was just great.
And probably, quite honestly, where you had the most success personally, right? Which, and listen, you can't beat the San Diego weather, man. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh man,
It's just
San
perfect
Diego's
every day,
beautiful.
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's like climate control. It's like God put climate control on. It's just gorgeous every day. What's your favorite candy bar, man? You eat candy bars?
Sometimes.
All right,
I'm,
if you got to pick one, where you going?
I'm trying to get away from. So I used to be a Mars bar.
Really?
Mars bar used to be my candy man. That used to be my favorite. And then they stopped making Mars bars. So then they kind of came up with Snickers almond. Kind of the same, but not the same. But I like the Score bar.
Yeah, those are good. Those are underrated. Those are underrated, dude.
Oh man, those are delicious. But more times than not, I'm probably getting the Snickers almond.
Yeah. It's funny when you look at the back of a protein bar now, right? Like, you go into the protein bars that are like $6 each, and you look at the back, and it's 18 grams of fat and whatever, and then you grab a Snickers with almonds, right? And it's the same. The only difference might be like there's some fake sugar in the protein one, man.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. You're better off with that Snickers with almonds, I think. It's all the marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man, this was cool. I do appreciate you taking some time. Like I said, I just wanted it to be low key and just get to know you a little bit, man. Hopefully, you enjoyed it and you'll check out Moneyball, and I thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, man, for sure. I appreciate you having me on.
You got it, brother. Have a great night.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
This is Dante Bichette Jr. You are watching the Moneyball channel.
What's up, everybody? This is Tony Gwynn Jr., and you are watching the Moneyball channel.